Right. What's wrong with your tooth?
Huh?
What's wrong with your tooth?
Oh, it's infected. So he's saying antibiotics and referral to a root canal person, but we don't know what's going to happen. I'm taking antibiotics to do it. Probably not taking what we do.
All right, folks. Welcome to EDA 614. We're going to go ahead and get started. Just make sure everybody can hear me first. If you could just let me know in the chat box with a yes or no. You should be able to give me a yes if you can hear me and you're able to see my computer screen, please. All right, great. So, small class. Looks like there's 10 of us here. I think there's like 14 to 16 in the class, so I know a couple people said they couldn't make it. I am recording this session. I doubt it'll be up tonight, but if not tonight, then tomorrow morning. I'll post it under the module 1 in Canvas. So please make sure that you ask questions after I get done with everything here. And as always, I'm a phone call or an email away if you need anything. So most of you, I believe all of you have taken me for a class or two in the past. Quite a few of you had me for EDA 612 just this past 7.5, 8 weeks, whatever it was. I know Dr. Goins and I emailed a little bit back and forth today. Some of you had him the first 8 weeks. Some of you had me, and then instead of keeping them the same class, they switched them up a little bit. So regardless, folks, whether you had me for 612 or not, it's going to be consistent for both of us. For the most part, a lot of the same things. So, all right, we'll go ahead and jump in. This is a similar start to a course that if you've had had a course with me before. If you have any questions, please put it in the chat box. We'll go ahead and get started then. So real quick, obviously, everyone uses Canvas now. I'm just in our EDA 614 class site. Obviously, if I click on the home page, and I think mine looks either just like yours or very similar. On the home page, email address, again, you know this by now, but I'll say it again. I have email on my phone. I check it a couple times a day. Just kind of depends on what's going on. If not, I usually check it, I'm eating lunch or something like that, or during the evening. So please, you're not bothering me a bit. I want to help you. Email me if you have questions. I'm going to go cover the syllabus here in just a second, which is right here. Required book, the same exact one from 612. You'll use it a little bit in 614, not a ton, but it's the same book. There's no other books that you need. So there's the syllabus located there, as well as if you click on syllabus, it lists the syllabus as well and all the assignments. So I'm going to quickly go over the syllabus. Again, nothing life-changing on there, but my contact information, yes, that is my cell phone number. Again, I'd prefer you email me using that Georgetown College email address that's there on the screen. If we need to set up a phone call, a one-on-one Zoom meeting, definitely willing to do that. Just let me know. I'm going to go through the highlights then. There again, I'll list the book for this course. You probably already have it right now. Already. Live text, you will need access to live text. Again, no different than other classes. We'll talk about that, some of the expectations later in the course. We might touch on it just a little bit today. A lot of stuff's just some of the standards and different things that we're going to use. There's the rubric that we'll use for this kind of the final capstone and presentation. Again, we'll go over quite a bit of that at a later date. I'm getting ready to pretty much make it, for lack of a better way of saying it, I like to think I've, dummy-proofed is probably not a good way to say it, but I have a template for you to use. I spell out the expectations on it. You're going to have plenty of time to ask questions and get feedback if needed on some of those things. So basically what I'm going to do then is just scroll down to pretty much the last page of the syllabus, thing you're probably the most worried about. Again, the grading scales, no different in a class, 93 to 100's an A. 85 to 92 is a B, 75 to 84 is a C. There are no D's in this class, and anything below a 75 is an F. There are 200 total points in the course, 3 discussion boards. One of them, excuse me, one of them you've already done. That was that introduce yourself discussion board. But 3 discussion boards, 10 points each. When I say discussion board, there won't be any expectations for you to collaborate unless you want to, but any expectations to collaborate with your peers in this class. The discussion board is basically going to provide me a post or information, so to speak. Again, like always, I'm going to go through that here in just a moment. The final survey and principal approval, worth 20 points. That's the one that you will do this week in module 1. Analysis and presentation of the data, the graphics, that's going to be kind of desegregating your data, putting on a couple slides in a PowerPoint that's due here in a couple of weeks, worth 10 points. The overall final PowerPoint presentation is worth 50 points. You're going to physically present this presentation to some of your peers at your school, specifically the committee and a few others probably. You're going to record that, you presenting that. That's worth 50 points as well. You'll do a short, a little 1-pager executive summary worth 10. Provide me a reflection of 20. And then your lead administrator, probably for most of you, your head principal, is going to complete a rubric on your behalf while you complete your presentation. They'll fill that in. Once you submit that, you'll get 10 points as well. So basically 200 points total. That's pretty much the syllabus there. Again, ask questions if you need to. Click back over to Canvas. I'm going to click on modules. Again, you might be able to see, you can see weeks 2 and on my screen, obviously, but you won't have access to those until that week's begins. So basically what I did was, I think this class started last Thursday. I made this first module, instead of being 7.5 weeks, go from February 28th to March 10th. March 10th, I believe, is Sunday. Yes, it is. So Sunday. So then we'll get back on track. Then from then on, Mondays we'll start the next week. So week number 2 on 12:01 a.m. on Monday morning. Week 2 will basically become able for you to see. I don't think, let me check here. I don't think you guys can see it yet. Yeah, you cannot. Be able to see weeks 2 on as they open up. So there'll be a few more things that I'll do later in the week, similar to module 1. I'll have some directions and all that type of stuff. So I'm gonna go through a few more things then for module 1, which is kind of laying the groundwork for the whole thing here. So right here, the timeline of assignments is the next thing I'm going to provide you. Again, this is essentially the meat that of what will need to be done each week. I decided this time to try and be a little more transparent and to give you a heads up. Just make that available for you now. Can you start working ahead? Of course, you can begin these things and work ahead as far as you want, but you won't be able to submit those items until we're in the actual week. Kind of some of the expectations from administration at Georgetown is that to make sure that people are accessing Canvas regularly is to not allow you to post them early. So again, you can work ahead, but you'll have to actually wait until the week that it's due to submit it. We've had plenty of classes together before. I'm sure that a good chunk of you at some point didn't access or make a post during a certain week, and you get that email saying, hey, you have to do something this week. This assures that happens. So again, week 1 is the principal, the survey and principal approval. So basically, you need to provide me a 1-page describing the process that you use to collect your survey data and reflect on it. Give me a copy of the survey. Remember, that survey must be a minimum 10 questions and 2 open-ended questions. Those 10 questions should be, remember, a Likert scale, 5-point Likert scale on that, be at least 10 of them. and then 2 open-ended questions. It can be more than that, but that is the bare minimum. So basically, give me a short description of that. And then also on there, I think when on the actual place that we'll post, I'll show in a second. Besides tell me how you did it and provide me a copy of that, give me a sentence or two letting me know that yes, you have spoken to the principal in your building and he or she has given you permission to physically share the survey out with staff. Week 2, kind of the highlights. Again, you need to go ahead then, once you get the blessing, go ahead and physically perform the survey, whether that you do that through a Google Docs, SurveyMonkey, whatever. You need to get that out this week, first week in March. Weeks 2 and 3 are basically providing me some, again, this I call it a discussion board, but you're just providing me an update of where you are at through the surveys, through, hey, I'm getting data. Hey, I have the data now, and I'm starting to desegregate it. I'm starting to work on my PowerPoint presentation. I went ahead and picked out a date and time with my committee and my principal to do my presentation. Do a lot of front loading. Obviously, it's going to take a couple weeks for you to, you should have your survey done, whether you had me or Dr. Goins for 612, but have your survey, put it in something electronic, Google Docs, SurveyMonkey, there's other things out there. Folks, you're going to have to hound people to, whether that be with parents or your staff or students, depending on whatever the survey is that you're doing, you're going to hound people to do it. Is there a certain number of surveys that you must have received? No, more the merrier. 15 or 20. If it's staff, parents, hopefully you can get 40 or 50 students. Kind of depends. Are you doing a grade level? Kind of depends on it, but obviously the more data, the more reliable it is, the more information you have. So yeah, you need to get that out in the next couple of days. Weeks 2 and 3 is when you start getting that data in and desegregating it pretty much and providing me updates on weeks 2 and 3. Week 4 then, it'll be, I believe, due at the end of week 4, so that March 31st is when you're gonna actually take you should have all your data in, and then you're gonna complete the PowerPoint slides, the survey slides only, the data slides that I'll show about the expectations here in a moment of your presentation to be used to analyze your survey data. So basically, what are you providing me? You're providing me the few slides that you plan to put in your PowerPoint where you share the data that you gleaned from the survey that you did. So you disaggregated the data. I want graphics. I want it to be, depending on the data and what it is, it might be a line graph, it might be a bar graph, it might be a table with different percentages and information in it. But those few slides, actually you're going to upload a PowerPoint that's going to be, again, just a couple slides, 2 to 4 slides, probably closer to 4, maybe a few more, showing me that information that you're taking away from the survey. So that's what week 4 is. Week 5, April 1 through 7. So April 7, no later than April 7, you're going to the full PowerPoint. And again, I'm going to show you all the different things that are expected on the PowerPoint here in just a moment, but that's when you're going to upload that on April the 7th. And then no later than April 7th for that week 5. Week 6, big week. Again, you could have done this a tad earlier, but that week 6 there, April the 14th, is when you're going to upload a link, probably in a Word document, upload a link of the actual you presenting your PowerPoint. Again, remember, as a principal, you're going to be expected to share information, to be in front of people. We're wanting to see you, dressed up. I'm not saying you have to be in a full suit or a dress or anything like that, but be dressed up. PowerPoint using, eye contact, sharing information. a question and answer. Again, I'll go through some expectations on that in just a moment. I encourage you to use Zoom if you want. I do that because that's what Dr. Goins had expected in the past, but that's not a mandatory thing for me if you don't want to use Zoom. Anything that's going to record it, it just needs to be on a link though. When I taught this class last year, a lot of people they did that. They uploaded their video using whatever format on YouTube and provided me a link to watch it on YouTube. You just have to make sure that it's public enough that I can view it. I know in the past I click on the YouTube link and it's still private and won't let me see it. So I need to be able to see that. So you'll do that. Again, you might end up doing this in early on in April, early on in week 6 or at the end of week 5. But I would, if I'm you, one of the things you definitely need to do is pick sometime between April 5th through 14th. Well, 14th would be too late. 5th through 10th, somewhere. I'm not looking at a calendar right now, and obviously you have spring break. Some people in there, so maybe it needs to be that early Monday, Tuesday after spring break or before spring break, whatever. Iron out a date and time for you doing that presentation. Have your principal present, have your committee present, faculty, anybody, but people do need to be present for that. So you're also going to provide that week not just a link, but the executive summary. That's a 1 full pager. Again, I provide some details about what's expected that week. And then lastly, the final week, week 7, is when you're going to provide me a 1-page reflection and submit the rubric that I'll provide in a few weeks that your principal will complete on your behalf. They'll complete that rubric and submit that. So again, no surprises. The entire class is basically finishing what you started in 612. You're putting out a survey, you're getting back information, you're desegregating that information, you're putting everything in a nice neat bow and a very well thought out, put together PowerPoint presentation, and then you're actually physically going to present that PowerPoint presentation, do some reflecting along the way, get your principal to give you some feedback using a rubric, so on and so forth. So again, if you have questions, feel free to ask. But now I am going to jump back over to Canvas. So I just went over the timeline. I went over the expectations and let me see here. Yeah, I went over the syllabus. I went over the timeline. So now I'm going to go over kind of the expectations and PowerPoint template, that document there. So basically here is the expectations for your presentation and the actual PowerPoint. So the actual PowerPoint, obviously I want you to pretty it up, but don't be too overkill. And then each of these bullets represent, could be a few slides of what is needed. Obviously an introductory slide, putting your name, position, title, maybe the school you're at, any of those other types of things. The school data slide, provide a brief snapshot of your school. Talk about your school, where it's at, maybe some a few little information, population, demographics, size of the student population, staff population, obviously the school name, different things like that. Statement of a statement of what the problem is that you've identified, that your committee, in 612, what's the identified problem that you guys came up with? Why is it a problem? Research question slides, so list your research question or research questions. Put a few slides together, hitting the highlights of your review of literature that you did in 612. Remember, make sure and provide reference to the information that you share on that. The root cause analysis slides, should be a few slides. Again, how did your committee come up with the root cause of all that? Did you use the 5 whys, the fishbone method? What other methods did you use? So talk about that a little bit. The survey method slide, so what was the purpose of the survey and what did you discover? So talk about a little bit about that. Validation of data slides. Verify your data is reliable. So show that. And remember, this is a small snapshot. This isn't like a full dissertation that you're doing your doctorate on. Just show the information on there. Your implementation slides. What is the action plan to solve the problem, and what resources are needed? So again, the action plan. Once you've done your survey and you get this information, you've developed a plan to help remedy that. We're not going to have enough time for you to execute that full plan and to see if it worked or not. So that action plan is going to be your plans for that you and your school could implement in the future. I'm not going to be able to see all that well. The summary slides, so what did you discover throughout the process, and then the final slide listing your resources from the review your literature, yada, yada, yada. On Canvas, I did I put a couple examples of those for you to look at. Again, that doesn't necessarily mean they got a full 100%, but it'll give you hopefully a better idea of some students who've done well in class before. That was their PowerPoint presentation. The actual PowerPoint, not them presenting it, but the actual PowerPoint, following those same expectations, and you can kind of see, maybe give you a little clear snapshot of what we're exactly looking for. When it comes to the actual presentation, the PowerPoint presentations due the week of class for April 14th through 19th. You submit a video of your presentation. This process will consist of the following. Gather your committee on site and give your PowerPoint presentation. You'll be required to have a sign-in sheet with verification of attendance of committee members and guests. So when you submit that link, you're also going to need to submit a sign-in sheet. So have that sign-in sheet. The presentation should be between 20 and 30 minutes, and that 20 and 30 minutes include a short question and answer at the end. Record the video, download it to a video file, and submit it to your instructor. Actually, you're going to submit it in Canvas. I recommend using Zoom video. Zoom video is what Dr. Goins liked. It's very easy, but if that's not something you're familiar with, I don't care what you use as long as you can get it uploaded onto YouTube then, and you can make it public enough for me to be able to view it. Provide the instructor the PowerPoint several days in advance of the presentation to verify all requirements have been met. That's where you're doing that the week before, getting my feedback and points for all that. And then load the PowerPoint and live text at the conclusion of your presentation. So once everything's done and you've gotten my blessing and you've done it, I'll instruct you then probably during week 6 or 7 to upload not the link but the actual PowerPoint into live text. And so again, like always, I try to no surprises. So the timeline's here, expectations and PowerPoint templates here. The assignment that's actually due for this week is the survey and principal approval. Again, this is where here in Canvas you will upload that, a copy of your survey there. Make sure and let me know that you got approval from your principal in your building. And remember, it should be at least a minimum 10 questions, 2 open-ended with a survey, 5-point Likert scale. That's it from that. Let's see here. That was our Zoom meeting. So I'll eventually, either later tonight or tomorrow morning, or sometime tomorrow, I'll take down the Zoom, this Zoom link, and I'll put up in its place the recording. There are the 2 examples. I'm trying to think of what else. You can see, I know you can't view it now, but like, week 6 video of your presentation you'll put there, the executive summary you'll put there, an executive summary sample. So I do give you a sample so you know exactly what I'm looking for in the executive summary sample. But again, folks, no real surprises here, I hope. I think I've hit pretty much everything that I knew I definitely wanted to hit. The discussions, obviously, let's click over on discussions. Yeah, weeks 2 and week 3 there, just do what the directions said. Anybody have any questions then? I'm about done for tonight. I'm probably thinking I'm leaning toward maybe week 4 sometime, having another Zoom online class meeting similar to how we're having now, a short one, just for 2 reasons. One, give people opportunity now that would have been in class for a couple weeks. Once you're in class for a couple weeks to and digest a few things, to ask some questions, and then kind of hit some highlights of the big meat of the things are due the second half of the course as well. But before you can do all those things, you have to have submitted your survey and analyze the data and all that. Jessica asks, are there any observation hours required in this course? No hours. You fulfill all these requirements and different things. Obviously, if you don't complete the PowerPoint adequately or submit the video or the rubric by your principal, and obviously you won't be able to move on and pass in the course. Past experience, for most people, this is the last class, if not the last class, very close to being done with the whole program. But so kind of mandatory fun on those things. So I'm looking for maybe, excuse me, sometime week 4, having a Zoom meeting again. If you try to make it, if you cannot, of course I'll record it and upload it then. Other questions from anybody? Folks, I'm going to stay behind if you have any questions or comments. If you feel like you're clear on everything, here I'll say 1 or 2 more things and you can hop off here. But definitely, let's see, make sure I'm going to hit directions for week 1. Make sure I didn't forget anything, because I've not clicked on that with you all. Let's see. So we have the Zoom online meeting. You know about completing the survey and principal approval. So basically, you're submitting me your survey. Let me know how you did it, and let me know that your principal has given you approval. We've looked at the syllabus, ordered the book. Yeah, everything looks good there. So the only thing I would say, again, to conclude, the next couple days, submit it's due no later than Sunday, March the 10th. But if you're done, submit that next couple days. Go ahead and share that with whomever you're surveying as soon as possible. And then, in my experience, you're going to have to hound them. Whether if you're doing that with your staff, you send that out in email. You're probably going to have to follow up on it a few times. Maybe even get your one of your administrators in your building to help reinforce that, to help you out. And then obviously spend some time looking at these examples this week so you're clear on that. And then let me know if you have any questions. Shoot me an email, or if you need to set up a phone call, we'll do that as well. Folks, that's all I have. Again, we'll talk again during week 4. Otherwise, you're free to go. Otherwise, I'll stay behind for a couple minutes to answer any questions anybody has. Thank you and have a great evening.